Unveiling the iPhone 14 and iPhone 14 Plus, Apple moved to showcasing its refreshed Pro range of smartphones today. The iPhone 14 Pro and iPhone 14 Pro Max come with new cameras, a new notch design, and a new chipset. You can also contact emergency services via satellite if you find yourself off the grid but under light foliage or in direct view of a satellite. This service will debut in the US and Canada only in November and will be free for the first 2 years. The main visual change you will notice is the pill-shaped cutout at the top of the screen. It's smaller than older notch, and this was enabled by the fact that the cameras inside are now 30% smaller. The proximity sensor also moved under display to help. Apple of course couldn't help name the cutout. Dynamic Island is how it's called. Apple is playing with black pixels around the actual cutout to create some dynamic effects. The space around the cutout changes to allow easier access to controls for ongoing background activities like maps or music or a timer. Third-party apps can take advantage of this area too. For example, you could get sports score on there. The display itself, 6.1 inch on the Pro and 6.7 inch on the Pro Max, is now brighter up to 2000 nits peak for HDR content and has a new controller that supports refresh rates as low as 1 Hz. This means always on display is finally available on the Apple product, exclusive to those Pro phones. The time, widgets, and live activities will be visible at a glance on this always on display. The main camera on the back has a quad pixel sensor, which is a first for Apple but rather old in the Android world right now. The sensor has 48 megapixel resolution and by default the phone will shoot in 12 megapixel. The camera has an f1.78 aperture and 1.22 micrometer pixel size before binding 2.44 micrometer with binding. You also get second-gen sensor shift stabilization as well as full focus pixels. The high-res main sensor enables a new intermediary zooming step of 2x in the camera app by cropping from the middle, perfect for portrait mode shots. There's a new 12 megapixel ultra-wide camera in tow with large 1.4 micrometer pixels, delivering sharper images with more detail and improving on macro shots too. Finally, the 3x telephoto camera is still there and has optical image stabilization. The A16 Bionic chip is the heart of the two devices and it comes with a 6-core CPU with 2 performance cores and 4 efficiency cores. The CPU overall is built to be 40% faster than the competition, while its 2 high-performing cores require 20% less power than the ones in the A15. The 16-core neural engine included in the A16 is capable of 17 trillion operations per second, while the 5-core GPU comes with 50% higher memory bandwidth. The iPhone 14 Pro and 14 Pro Max will be offered in space black, silver, gold, and deep purple with 128, 256, and 512 GB and 1 TB of storage. Pre-orders begin Friday, September 9 with availability following on September 16. The price in the US has stayed the same as last year. The iPhone 14 Pro starts at $1,000 while the iPhone 14 Pro Max starts at $1,100. Like the cheaper non-Pro iPhone 14 models, these two remove the SIM tray for the US market, relying on eSIM only.